This video will be a reflective video regarding our Knowledge Building Center portion of our Library Learning Commons at Augusta through our projects that we've been working on throughout this semester. The unit that we worked on, or that I worked on with a classroom teacher, was an early firearms unit. That was demonstrated through our interview process that I had together with the classroom teacher early on, seeking out what types of information he was looking for as far as databases and articles and that sort of thing. That link is located on our Library Learning Commons website under the Research tab. And on the right-hand side, I hope to develop the Knowledge Building Center. There's not much there right now, as it's just in its infancy stages of our redesign, but you'll see the example of the early firearms project. That originally was completed in a Google Classroom, and so you can just see very briefly here all of the information that is on the Knowledge Building Center is also in the Google Classroom. So I'm not sure how much more this is going to necessarily develop, because students will actually have access to all of that information in the Google Classroom. With that said, this is what I would have built something like this if the only access I had was a site like a Weebly or Google Sites, that sort of thing. So this link should link out. Everything should be active as far as what a project could look like. The landing page for this is the firearms project. I went out to Creative Commons and got this gun just to kind of demonstrate to students. Finding imagery and that sort of thing is important to make sure that we have the ability to be able to use that. I tried to summarize the overall task right here, and then right away into our links, tried to get them into the materials that they're going to need. I have a project guide here with an outline with the number of days and just emphasis on where they could find communication throughout this particular project. Students had to complete the KWL chart. They did the K and the W right way. And at the end of this project, they had to complete the L portion of it. And this would have been the original slideshow that the instructor would have shown. So that material is all available to the students to get them going on this particular assignment. The research materials were narrowed down to the Badger Link Britannica, and the search popped up right there. So students should have access to that right away. The Badger Link is there. I wasn't able to figure out how to link that up so that an image actually appeared. So I would have preferred an image to appear. It does on the Google Classroom, but not through the Google sites here. And then the annotated list of resources is what we came up with together with the classroom teacher and myself, as far as a list of resources and variety of resources, both reading level and content-wise, as far as having a breadth of information. Some sponsored by the NRA and some that are more left-leaning, so students can make a decision on where they believe some of the information is coming from, even though this is a relatively narrow topic. The example projects, we got permission from students and parents to make sure that we could post their final projects, and the final project was having to record themselves screencasting their knowledge that they gained from this project through Google Slideshow. So they recorded it through screencast, and through this process, they were able to address the history standards of how technology impacted civilization in early colonial America, specifically related to firearms, English language art standards through public speaking skills, as well as information technology standards through screencasting and having an understanding of how to portray their information in a variety of ways. And when they were completed, they did the what I learned information, as well as thinking about how this understanding of the technology of the time could have had an impact on the military. There are some tutorials that are out there for students just as support if they couldn't get that information from the classroom teacher or myself regarding Screencastify and how to use BadgerLink and its resources. And there's also Ask Your Questions category here that at any time students could ask those questions. Some of the strong things about this particular website, I believe, include the collaboration between the classroom teacher and myself. We did a good job of making sure that we started out the task talking with each other and making sure we understood where our strengths were, his being more the content area, mine being more the research and technology components of the task. Um, and as we moved forward, one of the things that I think I discovered that I think would be a nice addition to this would be for students to actually search presentations about firearms. So to narrow it down by searching by um, file type. So they could go file type in the Google search and narrow it down to a firearms PowerPoint presentation and actually uh, analyze two PowerPoint presentations and then use that and those analytics to actually come up with a presentation. So to kind of break apart somebody else's presentation. So I think that would be a definite strength. Um, Overall, I think this demonstrates pretty well our collaborations that we have within our district. Our relationships within our district are probably some of the strongest things that that are out there for us. We have lots of great things, but that's one that I just think is a really nice aspect. We encourage and support each other as professionals, and our students see that. And so when we demonstrate a think aloud and how our thought process is towards a project, such as this firearms project, students were able to engage in that process and in that dialogue and see how professionally people interact and treat each other, as well as how we dig down and data mine through articles, through databases, and that sort of thing. And then ultimately to evaluate what we did actually learn. And so their KWLs and their presentations did a good job of that. And throughout the whole task, they're able to ask questions, they're able to email us, that sort of thing on a normal basis. In this Knowledge Building Center, there is this form that we have in here. And, that's something that I think it'll be interesting to see to test that out. We didn't test it out in this particular project. It's something that exists because of the assignment for the Knowledge Building Center, but I'd be curious to see if students would actually take us up on this particular form when they were actually researching their projects. Overall, again, I think that the students have contributed well, that we contributed to add to their information based on all the evidence that you see.